I'm Jared Russo. I'm the mayor of Video Game Town, and here with me today is maybe the single most prolific writer we have ever gotten to appear on our website, which is saying something. Matthew Roberson, you've written for GQ Mag, the New York Daily News, Fangraphs. There's a whole bunch of other places, I'm sure. You've profiled legitimate A-star people. You've written a ton about sports, and you are playing one particular video game that we'll get to later. But how are you doing, Matthew?
I'm doing good. Thank you for that intro. Wow, I feel very self-important now from my writing career.
Good.
But yeah, I think we can just pull the curtain back right away. One of the many reasons I was available in the middle of the day to do this interview is I am now unemployed. So my GQ run came to an end. But you are correct. I did used to work there, New York Daily News, Fangraphs. I have spilled a lot of ink all over the internet, and I'm happy to talk about something I was telling you earlier is one of the things I'm most knowledgeable on in the entire world, which is a baseball game from 21 years ago.
It makes me feel so old. You have no idea.
It's
Um,
tough.
yeah. Well, first I just want to boo GQ, boo for getting rid of you. How dare they? Um, I'm conflicted because on the one hand, I want people to go and read your work, but on the other hand,
Right.
it's like you're not getting any of that money. Like you're not getting money from those clicks anymore. Like,
Yeah, I was never getting paid by the click if that helps people
oh, okay,
solve their moral quandary. Go read it and then
yeah.
be like, wow, this guy's good. We should hire him to do it at our place. But yeah, I don't have a ton of it towards them. I know how digital media works these days. 3 years is a pretty good run. That's 20 years in other
Yeah.
industries if you're adjusting for inflation. So yeah, thank you for your solidarity, but it's all good.
Yeah, 3 years really like staying at a place for more than a year or so. It's like you're like, oh my God, I got so lucky. It's crazy. Um, all right, well, first off, how did you get into writing? Because that is, I'm sure it is the same story as everyone else, right? It's just, I don't know, wrote for my high school newspaper and yada yada yada.
Pretty much, yeah. I think I have a similar backstory to most people who choose this to humanities in general, which is I was bad at math and science.
Yep.
Like when you are a kid and you're kind of assessing what could I actually do that wouldn't drain my soul every day, and I also would have some aptitude for. I was like, well, I like writing. Like I was never that kid that dreaded writing an essay. I was like, that to me is more fun than a lab report in science where I never knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I did do the high school newspaper. I don't think I'm hurting many feelings when I say our high school newspaper sucked. It was not a thing that anyone cared about or read. It was an elective class that you would take if you were, sort of media inclined. Bless her heart. I remember the teacher we had was in her first year at the school, and we kind of it was like the inmates running the asylum a little bit there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was beyond just writing for fun and writing essays in school that I thought were pretty enjoyable on their own. I was also on the family desktop as a little kid doing MLB power rankings in a Word document and stuff like that. And I would always I remember loving Sports Illustrated physical magazine would come to our house, and they would always do a big season preview for whatever sport was about to start, right? Whether it was basketball, baseball, football. And I started doing that on my own too. I would map out what I thought the standings would look like and make MVP predictions. And these just live on a desktop computer that is fully floating in the Pacific Ocean at this point. It's so far removed from my dad's house where he also no longer lives. So if anyone could track down that server, that would be that's a job for Pablo Torre. Find the old computer that I was writing MLB stars who might break out this year posts for myself.
Yeah. Well, not only does he need to find out about that computer's whereabouts, I guess. Do you remember, were you accurate? Were you oh my God, I nailed every
No,
year? No?
I think back then for baseball, when it was just three division winners and one wild card team, I was okay. Basketball, I would try to predict 1 through 8 what the standings would look like, and that's just impossible. Even now, that would be hard for me to
Yeah.
do. And I follow the NBA, so yeah, it was purely for fun, and I guess maybe subconsciously training myself to become a sports writer because I think once I told other people other professional sports writers that I used to do that as a kid, they were like, "Oh, you were a sicko." I was not doing any of that stuff. So maybe I gave myself an advantage.
That's funny. Yeah, thinking back at what the playoffs ended up being, I could not have predicted the Blazers would have made it. I would have thought the Blazers would have just been another bad, year of them sort of not knowing what the hell they're doing with their young players, but they kind of figured it out, even though their coach got arrested.
Right. Yeah. A tremendous tale of overcoming adversity for the Portland Trailblazers this year. I feel like that didn't get talked about enough. Like, sure, Denny Avdia, great season statistically. Like,
Yeah.
what about the fact that his coach is maybe going to jail?
Yeah, that happened like one game into the season, and just everyone decided to like not talk about it. Like, what the?
And he's like also one of like the better NBA players of the 21st century. Like Chauncey Billups is like a guy. It wasn't just
Yeah,
like a random person who got arrested. He was like at one point like one of the 15 best players in the league.
yeah. If it was just Terry Rozier got arrested, you'd be like, okay, like only people who play fantasy or like watch
Right.
hardcore would know who that is. But like Chauncey Billups was like on TV, and
Yeah, he
that's
was a big
insane.
deal. He was definitely in those like I would rank like top 10 point guards for the 2006 season, and
Yeah,
Chauncey Billups was definitely in there.
on your childhood computer, of course. So how do you get from that point to covering Marcelo Hernandez and Chase Crawford and like I see like I know there's a whole bunch of stuff in between those moments,
Yeah.
but like that's like a exponential like shoo, like straight up.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't straight up. The two vectors at the end of the line are like it shows like a straight upward trajectory,
But it
but
was
in
a
the
lot
middle
of
of there,
yeah.
yeah, it was extremely non-linear. I actually like I had like a college professor reach out to me and like, do you want to do a guest lecture for our kids who are like interested in sports and media and sports media? And I did that, and like I realized while I was like giving the talk in like a 50-minute class that like this part of the conversation takes like 40 minutes if I really do it like fully in depth. So basically, I graduated college and I had done school newspaper there. I was like sports writer to sports editor, and was like covering. I went to the University of San Diego, so we're covering the West Coast Conference, which is not exactly an athletic hotbed outside of Gonzaga basketball, who used to beat everyone by 50. So I did that, and then I graduated and like didn't get the immediate job in media that you dream of. So I did like a contracted job for like this company that was trying to revolutionize the way you buy a car online. It could not be farther from the sports world at all. But it was like a job opening that I heard about in Seattle through a friend of a friend. Did that. Worked at Domino's at one point delivering pizza. Like post college with a college degree, I was working at Domino's delivering pizza. Like felt like that was a real like okay, time to get serious moment. Not that there's
Yeah.
anything wrong with working at McDonald's. I mean, sorry, at Domino's, of course. That was a
No.
weird Freudian slip. I was like, did I work at McDonald's? No, I
That's the
never worked at
rhetoric that people
McDonald's.
use. It's like the
Yeah.
go hand. Yeah, the shorthand to just yeah.
Yeah. So my McDonald's was delivering pizzas and delivering not that bad, honestly. You're driving around in your own car with your own music or
Yeah.
whatever podcast you want to listen to. The first like big step was, I guess it was like 2 years after college. I joined Lookout Landing, the Mariners SB Nation site. I guess I
Okay.
never mentioned I'm from the Seattle area, so like big Mariners fan. That's where I lived the first 18 years of my life. And so I was always like, following the Mariners and like obsessed with the Mariners my whole life. So when I realized that they were an opportunity to like write about the Mariners, like in kind of like a fun way without like the restrictions of traditional newspaper, whatever. I was like, okay, like let's see if they'll let me do this basically. It turned out they were all like really nice, wonderful people. I'm still, good real life friends with lots of them. But that was the first step where I was like, people are actually reading this and I can like kind of like flex the writing muscle a little bit. Like there is so much room for creativity. And also like it is a passion project for most of the people over there because
Yeah.
it's not like anyone's full-time job. So that was the first step. And then from there, yeah, I guess I worked at Lookout Landing for like 3 years, 4 baseball seasons, 18, 19, 20, and 21. And then I guess in the middle of 2021 was when I got hired at Fangraphs. And I did that job for like truly 2 months. And then there was a job opening at the New York Daily News. And I was like, you guys understand I do have to take that job. Like that is a
Yeah.
full-time job that will move me to New York City. So that's how it happened. But yeah, between graduating college and my job at GQ, there was like 12 or 13 jobs in there. I also did like college internships during the summer, like 4 sports teams. So I interned for the Seahawks, I interned for the Seattle Thunderbirds, which is semi-pro hockey. So again, like very high on the totem pole and very
Yeah.
low on the totem pole. And then post grad, I was interning for the Seattle Storm, and like really thinking like that would lead to like a full-time job in basketball because the WNBA and NBA, a lot of those teams are same ownership group
Yep.
or same PR staff.
Yep.
So I thought that would be the move. I was like fully prepared to move to like Minnesota or Dallas to work for whatever team would hire me. And when that didn't work, that kind of kickstarted all the random jobs while still blogging for like a landing on the side. So that's like the advice I always give people is like take the full-time job that will allow you to like buy groceries and pay rent. And then
Yeah.
if you can blog or podcast or stream or whatever on the side, like that's kind of the modern blueprint for better or for worse.
Seattle is one of my favorite cities on earth. I love every time I go there. I love it. Um, if I was not an arrogant native New Yorker who has to basically die here, I would immediately move to the Pacific Northwest. I think it's gorgeous.
It
There's a
is.
vibe, man.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. That always warms my heart, especially when an East Coast person is like, Seattle is great. Because when
It
I
is.
moved to New York from Seattle, a lot of people were like, well, obviously, I've never been there. And I'm like, yeah, it is really far away. It's about as far as you can get in the continental United States.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny you bring that up because last night I was at like a Knicks watch party at a bar in my neighborhood.
Oh,
And
don't
I know
don't bring it up.
I'm not gonna talk about the game or like the inherent like struggle of being a Knicks fan. But I was talking to people and I was like, I like have acquired some Knicks gear in my almost 5 years of living here now, and like I would have felt weird wearing it to this because I'm not like a real Knicks fan. Like I'm not sad when they lose the way that people who really care about the team obviously are. So like I would have felt like an imposter is kind of what I was saying. Like if I
Yeah.
had worn like blue and orange or like, when I worked at GQ, yeah, I mean, go Knicks. I am rooting for them. But like when I was working at GQ, I got a Jalen Brunson jersey sent to me once. And I was like, if I wear this, people are going to think that I'm like something I'm not. So I've
Yeah.
been very like neutral colors, when I'm walking around New York right now, even though like I obviously want the Knicks to win. If the Knicks win a championship while I live here, that's like epic shit. Like people haven't been able to say that for 50 years.
The fact that you don't have a team to wear, like, I guess you could wear throwback like Sonics jerseys, but like,
Right.
like there's no conflict of interest because like they don't exist yet.
That's
So
true. I have
yeah.
every right to just jump on the Knicks bandwagon. And like, functionally speaking, I have. Like they are the team that I root for the most. They're the team that I watch the most. I am the youngest old person in that I still have a cable box. That's just my preferred method of like watching sports, especially where you have to get
Yeah.
45 streaming services. I'm like, what if I just get the cable that gets you to log into any of those streaming services anyway? So I watch the Knicks all the time, and like I do have strong opinions about them, but I realize that I'm not emotionally attached.
All I want is to not care anymore. Like I want to see the team win and then I could just not care. And it saves me so much time and agita to just be like, I got mine. I got the one. Like whatever. Like you could, it doesn't, which I always thought like took the sting out of the Super Bowl you lost because you just won. So it was like, but you just got one. Like you just got the ring
Yeah,
and the banner and the shirts and the hats and the trophy. Like I when I was at some museum near the Space Needle, near the Chris Cornell statue. You know that museum,
yeah, the Museum of Pop
pop
Culture,
culture.
Mopop. Yeah,
They had the Marshawn Lynch jersey. Like I was like, oh, like this is like, yeah, you know. So
I think that's right though, because I think I was like kind of in Seattle for that. I was in college for most of that run, but I would come home during the summers, and then my internship with them was like also during that run when they had all the like legendary players, and it was like it felt like a cultural force.
yeah,
Like that was the most I have ever seen one city like galvanize around a team. I would say like in a way that is different, but kind of like more fervent than what's happening with the Knicks right now. Because with the Knicks, it's like people who live here love the Knicks and like
yep,
rock with them no matter what, even when they're
yep,
winning 17 games. The Seahawks thing, like Marshawn, especially Sherman, Cam Chancellor, like guys who had like a personality to them, they made people who previously didn't care about sports like I'll watch the
yeah,
Seahawks. So it's a
yeah.
different. It was like very bandwagony. I have no problem saying that like Seattle is kind of a bandwagon sports town. Whereas with the Knicks, it's like, no, you fucking idiot. Like I was watching Damian Dotson do this. Like you think
Yeah.
I think I'm new to this?
Oh my God. Yeah. I like having gone to games with people who had never been to the Garden. Like you see people in like Alexi Shed like jerseys and like Pablo Prigioni jerseys, and like old people will like, nah, double dribble. Like, no. And you're just like, these guys care and they know everything and they're I mean, I live somewhat near Moynihan, which is connected to Penn Station MSG. So it was like all the barriers are up, foot traffic is on Ninth, everyone's got their stuff out. Like there was like a real, I've never experienced anything like it here. Like even when the Giants won, like it was like cool, but like it wasn't like this is something completely different. We're like strangers. I'm giving them fist bumps and like it's nuts. Which leads me to you moved to New York and you worked for the New York Daily News.
Correct. Yeah.
And let me get this right. You covered the Yankees and the Mets?
Yeah, I was kind of like the backup beat writer, like when the beat writers needed to take a series off, because we all need days off. No one
Yeah.
wants to cover, 20 straight baseball games. As fun as that job can be, it's like very taxing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was like the national baseball guy. Like I would, and whenever there was a story in Major League Baseball outside of the Yankees or Mets, that was kind of my beat. Or yeah, when they needed someone to like cover games in real life and the beat writer was tired, then I would jump in. So yeah, I was general assignment slash national baseball columnist slash sometimes like fake beat reporter.
Gotcha. That is so weird because those two fan bases hate each other.
Mm.
And so you could like I guess like have you ever like had to like look at someone and go like, "Oh yeah, no, I only covered the one team."
No, I think
No?
with the Daily News, I think people get it because that's also such like a New York institution where they were like,
Yeah.
it makes sense that you're tapped in on both sides. I think also people in New York understand that like when I say I cover them, they know I don't mean I like root for them. The thing about actually doing that is that you start to like have a different flavor of disdain for both teams. Like I moved to New York pretty agnostic about the Yankees. Like I don't have like pure hate in my heart for the Yankees the way that a lot of other people do. But then covering them, yeah, I was like, oh, this does feel evil. Like there's such a like ominous cloud over Yankee Stadium. I think it's like little things too, like how like, their color scheme is so like dark and foreboding, and the Mets are like, what if everything was bright orange? Like the
Yeah.
vibes could not be more different. And like
That's
being on the
right.
inside for both those franchises, you do start to pick up on that more. But yeah, in the great Yankees Mets divide, I definitely am like, let's go Mets. I think it would be awesome to be here and they win a championship. But I think we're gonna have to like whatever shit we did to get the Knicks in the NBA Finals, we got to do that times infinity to get the Mets to the World Series. Like
Do
whatever
not
cosmic force is happening needs to be ramped up tremendously.
do not get me started on the Mets. It, it is just like a weird lifelong pessimist. I mean, I'm having this with the Knicks where I'm like, they're gonna blow the series. Like they're just gonna do Knicksian things. They're gonna go ISO on Brunson too heavy. Like Cat's gonna disappear. Bridge is gonna disappear. Like I can already see like the steps into like how the Spurs win. Like there's no amount of evidence that you can prove to people that it's gonna go right until it does go right. Whereas the Yankees complex is we need to win every year. Why isn't Steinbrenner yelling and firing people like they used to? And why do we keep employing these jackasses named Cashman and Boone? That's a whole other you could study like Yankee fans' brains. Those are fascinating. I mean, half of my family are Yankee fans. They're out of their minds. And
I
also,
was gonna say I met you through a computer screen 20 minutes ago, and this is
yeah.
like the most worked up. I can tell that like something shifted in your brain when you had to start talking about the Yankees. Like
Oh,
you went from like pretty jovial to like fuck this. I'm so mad right now.
Yankee Stadium's a dump. I hate Yankee Stadium. Ugh, I hate it. I'll never go back. Anywho, so how do you end up going from covering sports to end up at a place covering sports, but also like celebrities and other stuff?
Yeah, I mean, when I was hired by GQ, I was hired specifically by like the GQ Sports branch of it to do sports writing. Like I was the staff writer, comma GQ Sports. So I knew that like the job was going to be like a little bit maybe like off the wall sports coverage, not so much like obviously no like box scores, X's and O stuff. More like
Yeah,
here are the cool athletes you should know about. Did we all see this cool thing that happened last night? Or like here's what this athlete has been wearing recently. And it was really fun. Like the first year I was at GQ, that was like that's what the job was. I was like just doing the sports coverage that they brought me in for. And then, things happen, like other people start getting laid off, people leave, the sports section dwindled tremendously. And that's where I started becoming like more utility player vibes, where they were like, we're still gonna have you do a little bit of sports whenever there's a big sports story or whenever we land like big sports talent for the magazine, like that's your purview. But day to day is going to be more like you mentioned Chase Crawford earlier. Like asking Chase Crawford what he eats for breakfast. That sort of became my job. So it was valuable in a lot of ways. Like, dealing with famous people is its own can of worms. And I think it's no secret that some of them are really awful, but some of them are also really great. And you like learn the tells and how to handle it when like 10 minutes into a 20-minute Zoom interview, you can tell that they want to leave. Like there's a lot of lessons to be gleaned from dealing with the rich and the famous. But yeah, what happened at GQ specifically was that like with each passing year, there was fewer and fewer resources or even just people in general in the
Yeah.
sports section. And I got sort of farmed out to wellness and other random corners of the internet.
Now, no, you don't need to tell me about the bad celebrity encounters. I don't want to, because like then you got to start naming names and you're throwing shade. Please tell me you had very good encounters with certain celebrities, and hopefully one of them is Chase Crawford, and my fiance will hear about it because she loves Chase Crawford. Loves Chase Crawford. Please tell
Rest
me it's good.
assured, Chase Crawford, nice guy, very
Yeah.
gracious with his time.
Hell yeah.
I always love when they're on time. That's a huge selling point
Yep.
for me because, like, a lot of the times too, like I don't work there anymore, so I can be even more frank about this. A lot of the times, it's like I don't care about this person. Like maybe I've like heard their name. I don't. A lot of celebrities I interviewed, like, I've never really engaged with their work, and that can make it easier, because then you come in with pure objectivity.
Yeah.
But so like sometimes when they win you over in that scenario, you're like, okay, great. Like maybe now I'm more inclined to check out your shit. When I already don't care about you and then you're being weird to me on Zoom, it's like, all right, man, like guess what? I don't want to do this either, you know? But yeah, the ones that were great to me, there was so many that were just like so fun because they like a whimsy to them. I don't deal well with like self-seriousness. I'm like a very playful, silly guy.
Yeah.
So when I would encounter that in celebrities, I was like, okay, you're my guy. One of the more memorable just days of my life, not even just in my media career, was the very end of his tenure running our beautiful city. I interviewed Eric Adams at Gracie Mansion, and he is
Wow.
exactly as weird as you want him to be. And I mean that as a full-throated compliment. He
Yeah.
is such a weirdo, and it was a breath of fresh air to talk to him for an hour.
That. Oh my God. That's
Yeah.
insane.
I was like coming back like to the office and like telling my friends in the next few days, like he is on a different plane of reality and I want to get there. I want my brain to start working more like Eric Adams. There's a quote, and this made the story, so I'm not like speaking out of turn.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I asked him like a classic New York mayor softball question, which was like, what do you think of the Knicks this year? This was in like October, November. So the season had just started. And he was like, it's funny. I was at the game last night. Like he was at opening night at the Garden. And he's like, it always reminds me of the Karate Kid. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. And his like really convoluted metaphor was that being in Madison Square Garden and looking around at like the melting pot crowd reminded him of that scene in the Karate Kid where Mr. Miyagi is teaching Daniel the wax on, wax off technique and how to wash a car. And his thesis was like, it's not about basketball, the way that Mr. Miyagi was not teaching him karate. He was teaching him something bigger, something more important than all of us. And I was like, you know what, dude? Hell yeah. Like, you're the sickest guy of all time.
What drugs is that man on?
I think he's like, again, I'm not trying to like blow up the former mayor's spot. I think he's like the kind of sober where your brain works like that. Like he
That's
obviously likes to
wild.
drink. I don't think he's out here doing recreational drugs. Maybe now he is, now that he's like just a delegate to Albania or whatever fake
Yeah.
job they gave him.
Oh, that's wild. So part of the reason why you're on here is because I know our website is called videogame.town, and we do cover games most of the time. We do the occasional sports things or TV, film, pop culture, whatever. You play MVP Baseball 2005 for the Nintendo GameCube.
Yeah, almost every day.
First of all, you have a working like CRTV and a GameCube that like you plug in the yellow, the red, the white, and it still works.
Correct. Yeah, you can see there's the corner of the TV, right? I'm trying to figure out how Zoom works here. No, you know what I'm
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to
yeah,
point out.
yeah, yeah.
I'm so turned around. This one. Yeah, so yeah, I bought the GameCube during the pandemic out of like pandemic boredom, and trying to like rekindle childhood nostalgia, kind of like doing the like more dark thing of like, remember when life was fun and
Yeah.
like none of this mattered?
Yep.
The pandemic hit at a time I was 25 that summer, so I was like, this could be like the end of my life. You know what I mean? Like it had just started and now they're going to end it for me. So I was getting pretty like in my feels. Ended up being fine. Pandemic was actually totally fine for me, just so everyone can stop feeling sorry for me. But yeah, I bought a GameCube, bought only like sports games that I played as a kid because I knew I'd be by myself. So like Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros, those are not fun. At least they're not as fun for me by yourself as they are when you're like playing with your
Yeah.
friends. So I bought games that I knew would be fun for me by themselves. And the first one that came to mind was MVP Baseball 2005. I am firmly of the belief that it's the best sports game ever made. I think people who have like
Ooh.
spent real time with it kind of agree. I was doing some light Googling on it before we started this, and like the Wikipedia summary on the side of the Google search says that. It's like Wikipedia, or it's like MVP Baseball 2005,
Yeah.
Manny Ramirez on the cover, widely regarded by many as the greatest sports video game ever. So I'm like, I felt very validated by that.
Huh.
Yeah, I play it every day because it still holds up. Like it's still a good game. It's like a game itself, like playing one 9 inning game takes like 30 to 40 minutes. So it's not like super time consuming. You can kind of like fit it into your schedule, especially now that I'm unemployed. And yeah, like
Fun employed.
it's a very fun employed, and it's a really nice like window to when sports video games like meant something. I know that sounds like really hokey, but like
Yeah.
now I feel like they're just like copy and pasting and changing the rosters. Whereas you play this game and you're like, there was so much real care put into this, and they were like trying to innovate the sports video game space in a way that I really appreciate.
So, a few things. One, I'm trying to think of what human beings, but also whatever monstrous Google AI assistant would consider to be the best sports video games. I have to imagine NBA 2K11 people really love. One of
I
the
think
NBA
so.
one of the NBA jams, maybe an NFL Blitz. I know people really love NFL 2K5, which is like the
Yeah,
last one
that's
of
what I was
those.
gonna say. Yeah,
Um, the Madden with Michael Vick on the cover was 04, 05. Like maybe that just
yeah,
that time was just like the best for sports games because they were more arcadey, but there was an actual year to year improvement in graphics and in like how they played and the animation and the number of modes. And then by the time you get to like 2013 and beyond, it's microtransactions, it's Ultimate Team, it's like diminishing returns on single player content. Um, it falls off, but it also becomes more simulation where it's like not just easy to intuit and just pick up and play. It's like a lot of like, well, this is like a little more sim than I want, but it's not like I remember like NBA Street and NFL Street.
ooh.
Oh my god, dude, those were just like those.
That blew my mind when that came out. I was like, what do you
Yeah,
mean you could play football in the street?
yeah,
Like,
jump
and it
off
could be sick.
walls.
Yeah, you could run
Yeah,
off a car and do a backflip and catch a touchdown.
and
But yeah, you nailed it. I think the
yeah.
games from like that era, like the early to mid 2000s, were made by people who love sports, and the sports video games of later were like people who love money, you know?
Or they're just held at gunpoint to like, okay, like FIFA, just Ultimate Team, that's all we're doing now, or 2K with like the
Yeah.
tokens or whatever.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
just because you mentioned FIFA, I would have to throw in this. I don't know if this is actually one of the best games of all time or this is just the one that hit when I was the right age. The World Cup Edition 2006. Really, really good game. Probably doesn't hold
um,
up anymore, but at the time it was fire.
so is there any compulsion for you to play not just the yearly editions of whatever, hockey, baseball, basketball, football, soccer, but any compulsion to play new sports game like Rocket League or like new Mario Strikers or anything like that? Or are you just like, nope, just give me GameCube baseball?
Yeah, I'm good. My friends have asked me this. My friends who like play online, like, you could just get a new console and play online with us and not because with MVP baseball on the GameCube, I'm just playing the computer every
Yeah.
time. So that does get a little stale. And like, especially with this game, they're like, there's little things that you start to pick up on. Like some of them are very obvious. Like the computer is terrible at bullpen management. So, like you'll be playing and they'll leave the starter in for too long. He'll get shelled. Then they bring in a reliever will give up like a 3 run home run and they just leave him in. I'm like, okay, well now there's no chance of them coming back. So like there's stuff like that. And then there's also like if you're really a ball knower, you can pick up on like pitch sequencing and stuff like that. Like there's some times where like you take the first pitch and it's a ball and you're like, okay, this guy's gonna throw 7 straight balls now. Like that kind of stuff happens all the time. But yeah, I have no interest in at this point in my life, I don't want to get more invested into video games, is what I tell my friends. I'm like, I'm not going to
Understandable.
buy a new console that costs a lot of money. and buy like do all the microtransactions within the game and like devote more of my free time. Like I'm in my 30s now. I don't want to get more sucked into the video games than when I was an actual child. Because I have like a pretty healthy relationship with video games, I would say. In college, I lived with someone who was like capital G gamer, and I was like kind of alarmed by what I saw.
Wow. Um, there are some great Mario sports games on the GameCube specifically. I think the best Mario Golf, tennis, and baseball are on GameCube. And I guess to some degree soccer. So like if you're into Mario sports games, like you have the right console.
Yeah, I like Mario Tennis. I remember playing that as a kid at like my friend's house. That one is one I would maybe dip my toe back into. But I wanted to get like all of the games that I played as a kid. Like Backyard Baseball made a GameCube
Yep.
game, and I played that for a little bit. And I was like, this actually is not fun unless you're 9 years old. I'm sorry to say. Sorry to Humongous Entertainment, but that game is
Damn.
so much better on like a desktop computer in
Yeah.
2002 than it is on a GameCube. NHL Hits. Did you ever play that?
Yeah. Yeah. Would
That's
like
the other one I still have.
when you get into fights, it's like a fighting game. Oh yeah.
And if you lose, you die. Your player
Yeah.
can't come back in the game. He's just done.
Great. Um, so with MVP Baseball '05, who was really good during that span? Like
Oh, brother.
who do you pick? You can't just keep picking the Mariners. Like who was really good in '05? I'm trying to remember like the Giants? No, it might have been
No, well, here's what I'll say. First of all,
Cardinals, Sox.
Cardinals are a juggernaut. The Yankees
Okay.
and Red Sox are
Yankee,
really
yeah.
good. The Mariners have a good lineup, but so I play on franchise mode. So I'm always drafting my team.
Mm,
And this is when people start to be like, are you fucking serious? I play almost every game. Like I will user play like probably 100 games of the 162. And once you get into the like August and September of your team schedule, I'll start simming the games against my own division. Cause I'm like, back then you played those teams like 19 times a
yeah.
year. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to play you guys anymore. But so like that is my way of playing. So I'm not actually super duper well versed on what teams are good, but I can tell you what players are really good.
Oh yeah. I could
So
imagine like Bonds, A-Rod. God, it sucks because like
yeah,
the Mets back then, it's like such anguish and pain from like the
yeah.
Beltron.
Weirdly, Pedro is really good, and this game would have
Oh
been his
yeah,
first year on the Mets. I don't. Is Beltron on the Mets in 2005?
I want to say
I
it was
don't
like him
know.
and like
We'd have to check the tape, but
Jose Reyes and David
Reyes
Wright
is
and
pretty good. David Wright is good.
yeah,
So yeah, like I know I can tell you all of that. I'm not I don't know the rosters very well, but like because I'm on like my sixth franchise mode. What I do is like every baseball season, I start a franchise mode for myself and like I'll play from March through October. Like whenever I have, like I said earlier, 30 to 40 free minutes, I'll just be like, all right, I'm gonna play. So right now I'm the Orioles because I like their uniforms and I like their stadium. I
yeah,
try to switch up what division I'm into because otherwise you get the repetition of playing the same
yeah.
teams over and over again. So yeah, right now I'm the Orioles. My best player is Pudge. Pudge is unbelievable in this game. He's
Okay,
like, you can't get him out, and like if you try to steal, you're out. Like it's just a cheat code. Um, the pitching doesn't really matter. Like the pitchers that you have don't really matter. The only thing that matters is if you can like do the pitch meter thing and like put the ball where you want it to. It doesn't
yeah,
really matter if you're throwing 88 or 98. Like if you locate your pitches, the computer won't hit them or it'll just be weak contact the whole time. But yeah, there's a ton of players who are way better in the game than they ever were in real life. And I've got a few of them on my team right now. If you really want me to throw some names at you,
yeah. Give me a
David
few.
De David DeJesus is unbelievable in this game. Cheat code, like kind of a slap hitting outfielder for the Royals
Okay,
in real life, but if you get him in this game, he'll hit 300 for you.
damn.
Shea Hillenbrand, kind of like it's like a home run hitter, first base, third base guy. I'm sensing that I might be a little older than you based on these blank stares I'm getting
No,
back.
no, 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 no. I just
No,
I I clearly I took a break from this team in that time.
sure.
I just turned 35. So,
Oh shit. Okay.
yeah. But like there is definitely a window where I was like I'm not watching. I don't
Okay.
care. I love David Wright, but like
Okay. Well, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I
yeah.
forgot about the scarred nature of being a Mets fan and how that might make you check
Mets,
out for a
Jets,
little bit.
Islanders, Knicks. Brutal.
You know what? It gets better. It gets better.
No, it
As a
doesn't.
Mariners fan, I never thought I would see them even get to the ALCS. And I maybe I'm a little sunnier in disposition than you. I'm like
Clearly.
I saw them. I saw them have the best season of all time.
Yeah,
That's awesome. And a lot of my friends are like, I'm so scarred from watching them lose
yeah.
game 7 of the ALCS. I'm like, that was the best we're ever gonna get. We should celebrate this.
What? By the way, what is going on with them this year? Because like everyone sort of predicted they would improve and make it further, but then they lost Eugenio Suarez.
Yeah, Suarez left, and then their big offseason acquisition got hurt, and then he got hurt again. So Brendan Donovan hasn't played a ton,
Oh,
and then
okay,
Kyle
yeah,
Rowley's
Donovan.
still hurt. So it's just been injuries. Um, the closer is not as dominant as he was last year, but like they're going to be fine. Their division is hot ass. So
Yeah.
like as long as they can remain like 5 to 7 games above 500, like hover in that range, they're going to win the division. So I'm not super stressed about the Mariners,
I've
which is
always
a
loved
crazy
their
thing to say.
bullpen. I've always loved their starting rotation, and I don't get how like that hasn't translated. But then again, like the team that broke the record for most wins never it didn't like ultimately translate when it
Yeah, you
mattered.
just
But
never know. So that's why I'm also like pretty like laissez-faire about baseball. I'm like, if you really stress over every game, you will go insane. So like, might as well just like treat it as like your favorite TV show rather than like a thing that you're like,
no,
you know, gonna suffer psychic damage over.
that's it's too late. That ship sailed. Like it sucks when all you want is to see wins and you just see a bunch of losers who lose and you're like you're stupid. I hate you, you stupid losers. And like
Yeah,
that's
well
the
now
mentality.
your New York is coming out a little bit too. I don't look at my beautiful boys and think you guys are all losers. I'm like, they're trying their best and I want them to succeed.
Well, it's different when like you know they're losers versus like when it's like you have the talent. It's like you're there. Like why did you have the biggest payroll in the history of baseball and then just collapse the second half of the year? Like that's what pisses me off. If the roster's not great, then like I'm not like I'm like like it's like expectation management essentially.
Yeah, I hear that. It is, yeah. The weight of expectations can kill even
Yeah,
the most like optimistic of sports fans.
like I was feeling great. We're up 0-2. We're going home. I expect them to just steamroll. And then they turn into the team that I knew that they secretly were this whole time. And they were just playing inferior competition. And I was like, well, that's it. The referees clearly are not giving them any calls. The league wants them to lose. Adam Silver hates James Dolan as he should, but they are clearly invested in having Wembanyama go the distance because like just follow the money. They don't want this team to win. And then
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've lived in New York long enough now to know that like there's no reasoning with you people,
no,
respectfully. If the NBA wanted any team to win, it would be the Knicks. Like if there was ever a team to rig the NBA for, it's the New York
no.
Knicks.
It's globally, it's Wemby. And James Dolan goes into every owner's meeting and just votes no, and they fucking hate his guts, and I get it because he's the worst. Um, but you could tell that like they don't side with cities or franchises. I think they do it with stars. Like that Lakers Kings series, like Donaghy. Like there's been enough like conspiracy stuff that like you just start thinking you're like, did he just like rip that guy's neck and they didn't call anything? Like that's a flagrant. And then like the most minor of inconveniences happen. They're like, we got to hit this guy with the flagrant. And you're like, what is going on here?
Yeah, the Lakers Kings one is undeniably corrupt, but
Thank you.
I think you'll be fine. I think obviously fuck Dolan, but Knicks in six. Like that's kind of where I'm at.
I'll leave you off with this. If you were to design a new MVP baseball,
Hmm.
what would you want? How would you?
That is a great question. One
Okay.
thing, so this is hyper specific to me. I'm kind of a nerd about like sports jersey numbers. Like I think it's like just like a cool thing about sports. You get to like pick your number and like the lineage of like everyone for a certain team that's worn this number. Like all that stuff is just interesting to me. One thing that I would like to be able to do is customize your players' jersey numbers. Like once you do franchise mode and you draft your team, I think it'd be sick to be able to pick their numbers because I get annoyed. They have fixed this now in modern sports video games.
Oh yeah.
But when you do franchise mode on a game made in 2005, if you draft 3 players who each wear number 25 for their team, they're all going to be number 25 on your team in franchise mode. And that drives me crazy. So
Yeah.
actually, this is more sicko shit. This is so people know that I'm like serious about this. Like, this is something that only an insane person would say. The
Yeah.
last 2 franchises I've done, so like the one I'm doing quote unquote this season and the one I did last season, I will draft based on jersey numbers. Like I make sure that I will not have two players wearing the same number. And it makes my team worse because that's hard to do. You have to really like fish around. Luckily, when you're drafting, like on the screen, it tells you what number they wear. So I'm not doing this like off the dome or like pulling up baseball reference on the side. Like it tells you. But so when I draft, I'm like, oh, I can't pick that guy, which I would want to. He wears number 13 and I already have a number 13.
Yeah.
So I would want to change that. I'd want to be able to just go in and rearrange my team's jersey numbers. But honestly, like if I were to make a game now, I would just do the same shit you did in 2005. Like do the like retro nostalgia thing that everyone kind of clamors for anyway in sports video games.
Yeah.
There are things that would need to be changed. Like when you're like if you're trying to go for like a pull side home run, right? You can like point the joystick in that direction while you're batting to try to make your player hit the ball that way. But then in that situation, if you get a pitch outside and you still swing, your player does like this weird, fucked up looking thing to try to pull the ball. And like that just wouldn't happen in real life. Like that is kind of something that I get mad about playing sports video games. I'm like, don't make it look stupid. Like
Yeah.
that if you're watching something on the screen and you're like, that looks fucked up and that would never happen in real life, just get rid of that. So like I understand why they do that. They're trying to teach you how to like hit and like go with the pitch. And like if you try to pull an outside pitch, you're gonna roll over and it's gonna look stupid. But like the actual swing that it produces in this game, like optically, it just looks so awful that I would need them to get rid of that if they brought the game back. What I wouldn't change at all is the soundtrack, which we haven't talked about. The soundtrack on
Ooh.
MVP 05 is so bizarre, but it's so good. It's like alt rock bangers. I'm guessing that was just what they could afford. You know,
Yeah.
like now it's like all like in 2K especially, you'll get like Jay-Z and Nas, and like how much did they pay for that song? Where MVP 05 has like bands like Hot Hot Heat and The Bravery on there.
Yeah. Bravery. Yeah.
A band called and You Will Know Us By or You Will Know Us As The Trail of the Dead. And they're like most famous for getting one of the early 10.0s on Pitchfork. It's just like crazy shit. Like clearly they had some guy who was like a real music head. And
Yeah.
he's like, I'm gonna come up with 10 songs that none of you have ever heard of, but they all bang. So I would bring that back. Anyone who's played MVP 05 is like nodding along vociferously at home. Like, yes, the soundtrack is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, there was an art to it when Tony Hawk's Pro Skater did it, where they had like alternative and like indie rock and like rap and like metal, and they like mixed it, and it was a perfect soundtrack. And you started to discover new bands and artists you had never heard of, and like they really nailed it. And then the EA Sports games have done a really, even the racing games like Need for Speed and Burnout and stuff, like they had really good soundtracks.
Mm-mm. Need for Speed. I was definitely playing that. That was a classic. Like I played that at other kids' house video game for me.
Yeah.
My parents were like, they didn't love the idea of video games. This was very like, turn of the century shit where people were like, if you play a video game with a gun in it, you will then bring a gun to school. Like we were still doing that rhetoric. So sports games were perfectly fine. Everything else they had to like kind of vet. So even like a game like Need for Speed, that would just require like me to justify why I want this game. And I just felt exhausted by that. So I never played that game at my house. Did you ever play Fusion Frenzy? That was another other kid's house game for me.
That is an other kid's house game. Yeah. A Mario
I
Party was
love
like
that
something
game.
everyone had, but Fusion Frenzy was something you would go over and you're like, you got Fusion Frenzy?
And it
Yeah.
was so sick. It was the most simple game of all time, but you could play that for 3 hours with your boys.
That is famously Bill Gates' favorite game for some reason.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I learned
He was
something
a
new
big
today.
part of the original Xbox team, and like he just loved Fusion Frenzy. Like that's what sold him.
Ball knower.
Um, it's funny you mentioned the jersey thing, because like I have, so I run a salary cap fantasy basketball league.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very hardcore. It's like spreadsheets and stuff. And I hate when I'm like going through the fantasy season of like a couple, you'll get pulled into like different football leagues, or you get pulled into different baseball leagues. I hate drafting the same players over and over. So it's like
Mm.
every league I'm in, it's like I want different players.
This is part of my MVP draft strategy. I'm like, I had
Yeah.
that guy 3 years ago. Let's
Yeah.
find someone else. I keep like a
Yeah.
list in my phone of like when I'm playing the computer and some guy's just killing me. Like this guy goes 3 for 4 against me every time. I will write his name down in this notes app on my phone and be like, draft him next time.
That happens in my brain where I'm like, I had you already, and like I'm always looking for like the new, so I usually like gravitate towards rookies, but I will definitely be like, that guy obliterated me last season, like I have to
Mhm.
get him.
Yeah,
This
you're
year,
doing the Doc Rivers style of team building. Remember, like
yeah,
every year he was like, "That guy
yeah,
killed us in the playoffs last year. Let's sign him."
let's
I'm
sign him.
like,
Yeah,
Doc, he's 34 years old. I don't care. He was
yeah,
really good in his limited minutes against my Clippers last year.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, Amina Hassid like did like a whole breakdown of like every player that like roasted Doc Rivers, and it's like the next season yeah, that was so funny. Oh my God. This has been wonderful. We've gone over, but that I don't care. This has been awesome. Where can people find your work on the internet?
That's a really good question. I would say I'm working on that. I will have to put together the classic portfolio website. But also embarrassing to say out loud, I'm still on Twitter. So follow
I
me
am
there if you're still
too.
doing that.
I
Yeah.
am too.
At M Roberson 22. There's a 22 in there because that was my jersey number when I played baseball. And I made this account in high school. So yeah, follow me on there. And I guess if you are someone with the power to hire me, I would be happy to connect with you on LinkedIn. That's the stage of my life I'm in now. I'm
Yeah.
like getting my LinkedIn presence back up to where it needs to be.
Hey man, whatever it takes.
But yeah, you can if you Google GQ Matthew Roberson, it'll take you to a page of everything I ever wrote there. There's hundreds and hundreds of bylines there now. Everything from those real life diet columns that you referenced, where I would ask celebrities like what their supplement stack was, to like like glossy print features on guys like Cade Cunningham and Lamar Jackson. So it's done it all, and hoping to continue doing it as long as the media industry exists.
Well, if you want to find out what Josh Hart eats for breakfast, check that out. And we'll see you next time. I don't know who the guest will be or in what format or for how long, but this has been wonderful, Matthew. Thank you so much for joining, and we will check you out next time.